Yo, welcome back to SeaBed. Last time, we had a very fun Christmas party where we sat around and ate stew and lit up a Christmas tree. And we learned in great detail what Sachiko and Takuko's favorite fishes are, and also Mayuko's. She said clownfish, right? Yeah, Mayuko is clownfish. Yeah, that's what we did. I didn't unlock any tips last time, right? Did I? I don't remember. No, okay. Alright, let's continue. I've been starting to think about this game if I've been like, not this one. I've been starting to wonder if I've been like, way overthinking this whole story, and it's as simple as like Takako died and what we're seeing from her POV is just like she's in heaven or in purgatory or something, and things are being stolen from the mansion in real life because it's like a parallel with the mansion in purgatory or whatever, like when they're being used in one world they're being taken from the other. It could be that simple. I don't know, just something I was thinking about. Okay, we got some very creepy music. Okay, wait. What do I want to go with today? Let's go with the old classic, like 5-pixel sea background. Michael laid down the futons as we finished talking about the aquarium. She asked me where I wanted to sleep, and I said here. I climbed into the futon and closed my eyes. I felt tired and wanted to fall asleep as soon as possible. As I emptied my head, the corridor with the oarfish popped into my mind. I was walking through it, holding hands with Sachiko. When I realized it couldn't have been real, I woke up. I glanced at the clock, and with the help of the moonlight, made out the display. Only 10 minutes had passed since I went to bed. My hand, however, was still pretending to hold Sachiko's. It made me wonder if it was a dream or a delusion. In the end, I figured there wasn't much of a difference between the two. More importantly, I suddenly felt cold. And it only got worse as I kept reading more of the diary. The more I remembered my time with Sachiko, the more I felt the void where her presence used to be. I truly felt like a hole had a hole pinned in me. If I listened in, I could hear the sound of the wind blowing through it. The hole had been there all along. I remembered someone telling me that. Narasaki? I glanced at Mayuko and saw her sleeping on her back, completely undisturbed. Or was it Mayuko? Her profile looked beautiful in the moonlight. She reminded me of Sachiko a little. I guess we've never seen Narasaki and Takako interact, have we? There was like that one, like, very short flashback we saw, but even then they didn't talk to each other. They were like next to each other, but they didn't. I don't think either of them realized the other was there. Are they the same person or something? Wanting to take a closer look, I climbed out of my futon and drew closer to her. Their eyes were about the only thing differentiating them. True! True! I mean, hang on. I'm sorry to remove this background. Look at her, and look at Sachiko in the middle here. Like, they're one-to-one. Sachiko always looked like she was sleepy, which made the shape of her eyes appear somewhat narrower than Mayuko's. Still, I wondered how they'd compare when they both fully opened their eyes. I felt like they might look the same. Is something wrong? Mayuko addressed me with her eyes closed. I can't sleep because of the cold. Can I get in? Mayuko half opened one of her eyes and closed it again. She told me it was okay. Grabbing my pillow, I slid into her futon. Okay. Mayuko turned her back to me. I hesitated for a second, then wrapped my arms around her. When I stuck my hand below her, Mayuko raised her body a little. I could hear the beating of my heart as I pressed my breast against her back. Mayuko was either very light or slept in a good position because my hand didn't hurt at all, despite being pinned under her weight. I connected her two pillows into one, then made my head feel comfortable in the middle and closed my eyes. During my light fidgeting, my hand brushed against Mayuko's bra. A mischievous idea popped into my mind, but I hurriedly discarded it. Little sexual harassment prank? I was already causing her enough trouble with my weird condition, so I didn't want to make the whole situation even more awkward. problem. As I fell asleep, I dreamt of having sex with Mayuko. I squeezed her breast with one hand while sticking my other between her thighs. Are you gonna wake up and you're gonna realize you were also doing that in real life? Like you were sleep... You have it like sleepwalking, but sleep sexing? There's probably a word for that. Is that a thing? I told with her nipples, listening to her moan. When I guided her hand to my crotch, she slowly started massaging it. Elated, I turned her over and began vigorously going at her from the front. What does that mean, going at her from the front? Like oral? Or with your finger? Mariko hid her face with her hands, trying to avoid eye contact. Her face kept turning into Sachiko's from time to time. Yeah, that seems salty. I still felt everything when I woke up in the morning. Before I opened my eyes, I checked my clothes with my left hand. I heaved a sigh of relief. Were you checking if you had soaked your underwear or something? My head hurt a bit. It must have been from the anxiety and my low blood pressure. Alright, interesting. Oh, okay. Once again, ending the episode right before a good stopping point. Chapter 4, Connected. Are we back to Sachiko? Okay, we didn't get any tips, did we? The rays of the sun filtered in through the marmalade-colored western window of the kindergarten, elongating the shadow of the three of us inside. The three of us, you say? I held a picture book in my hands that masqueraded as a doctor's notebook. Takako was pressing her stethoscope against the belly of a doll. Does the stethoscope have a right and a wrong side, she asked me. You mean for the ear? Yes. I mean for both parts, I think so. You're holding it correctly. I see. She took the stethoscope off and put it on the table. There was a whole lineup of toy medical tools on it, all to be used as part of the game. Takako looked over them for a second, and after a brief moment of hesitation... Sorry, I was still stuffy. What is this? She picked up a spatula generally used to hold down the tongue. Ah, the nurse is looking. I turned around and saw the nurse looking her way. She picked up a plush bunny we left on the floor earlier and put it back into its box. Where are you right now? You said you were in the kindergarten. Oh, you had mentioned a nurse last time you were in the kindergarten too. I don't know if that's just like what they're calling the teacher at the kindergarten, calling her a nurse. I don't know if that's normal. Or if we're saying there's like a nurse also on top of the teacher at this kindergarten that just like walks around. I couldn't make her face out in the backlight. Was she looking at us? Yes. You seem to be a very untrustworthy doctor. I fear for your future patients if you ever actually become one. Ugh. I think Narasaki's better than you, Takako. Okay, we can switch if you want. Okay, I guess there you go. They have acknowledged that the other exists. Narasaki stood up. She picked up the stethoscope, put it around her neck, and sat down in the chair. So, where does it hurt? I ate a poison apple. Just like in the story we read today. In that case, please show me your stomach. Okay. Takako pulled up her shirt, exposing her naked belly. Alright, now turn around. Takako did as ordered, pantomiming a spinning chair. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with your lungs. Okay, let's have a look at your throat now. Takako spun her invisible chair again and opened her mouth. Open wide? Yeah, just like that. Narasaki used the spatula to push Tako's tongue out of the way. You're good at opening your mouth. I can see all the way to your tonsils. The news toward more the same twing. I have no idea what you're saying now. Oh, we're Narasaki. The nurse told me the same thing, yeah. The leather blurred and started dancing on the page. I closed the book and rubbed my eyes with one hand. I glanced at the clock resting on the edge of the long table. What are you reading? Kozo, sitting on the other end of the table, addressed me. It's a book about psychological illnesses. No, it's not. Oh, I hope you get better. I'm not the one afflicted. Kozo exhaled an aloof breath. Why are you lying? She looked toward my direction, her eyes narrowed. Perception and Behavioral Psychology? She read out the title of the book I was holding. Is that... what? Is that actually what was written in the book that is called this? Or do you just have like a fake cover? It's the book I was looking for. Lily said this used to be a sanatorium when you two were talking, so I figured I'd try my luck. Okay, so this is continuing from chapter 2. Are you a doctor? That's right. What kind of doctor? Right now, a psychologist, but I've got training in a variety of fields, like hypnotism. You want to try? I see. Despite saying that, Kozue looked at me with incredulous eyes. I didn't flinch, and soon enough her gaze mellowed out. I've never known a doctor before. Really? Does Mayuko not count? Kozue began tilting her, or maybe that happens after, or maybe that's a different parallel universe, who knows. Kozue began tilting her head to the side, but stopped at the moment she caught herself doing it. The school has a counselor, though. You couldn't become a counselor without a doctor's license, as long as you have the relevant education. Is that person a friend of yours? No. He came to my house this one time when I was skipping classes a lot. Apart from that, I only saw him in ethics classes. You skip school a lot? When I feel tired. It's not like I enjoy slacking off for long periods of time. I was just really tired then. Did you go to school afterwards? Yes. I got even more tired once my parents started fussing over it. How do you relax on the days when you're tired? I sleep until there's no one else in the house, which is usually around 9 o'clock. Is this an interrogation? What's going on? After that, I read books. No one comes back until late at night, so I sometimes go outside during the afternoon. And that helps with your exhaustion? I prayed a bit further. Kozue further brows as though trying to remember what she told me. I suppose tired was not the right word. Going to the same place every day bores me to death. I want a change of scenery from time to time. Like choosing a less traveled route to school, or boarding a train and letting it take you across town and back until sundown. Stuff like that, you get what I'm trying to say? I used to be a student as well, and even now I'm forced to do more or less the same thing every day. Don't you ever get tired of it? I do, everyone does. Kozue placed her elbows on the desk and rested her chin on her hands. Can't I just become like those cats that always sleep on the fence? Maybe even the cat wondered why we spend all our time working with barely any rest. Anyway, people are different from napping felines. We can just do whatever we want. Is this a reference to the cat that Sachiko noticed outside the window at the clinic in the prologue? Sure, we're not cats, but still, why can't we live the way we want? People have their positions in society. We're social animals and have our roles to fulfill in our communities. My legs started hurting in my current position, so I recrossed them under the table. And the community returns the favor. Schools provides you with education, while family provides you with livelihood until that role is taken over by your workplace, of course. Okay, mom. And it is all structured in a way to make that function as effective as possible, which forces people to do the same thing, the thing they're the best at, over and over again. Will it get better once I grow up? What do you mean exactly? I'm asking if life will become any less boring. I think so. I think life is a lot less boring now that I'm an adult compared to when I was a student. I couldn't help but smile at Kozue's childish question. She seemed to consider an easy and unchanging life boring. At the same time, though, it could be considered the embodiment of peace, something that many people held in high regard. Why would it? Well, compared to school, there are all sorts of jobs in the world, and you're free to choose whichever you like. I see, you're right that the world is rife with various different occupations to choose from. At school, you only have the student council, while adult society has countless companies, divisions, positions, industries, occupations, and all sorts of other things that divide and sequester the whole. Kozue listened to me with somewhat dim eyes. However, this level of extreme specialization severely narrows the scope of your job compared to what you're used to at school, which is why people tend to be likened to cogs in the machine. Why does it have to be so specialized? I don't know. Maybe because everyone is competing in the same field. As our goals kept getting bigger and bigger and our population increases, everyone has to be an expert at their respective roles. A cog, said Kozue, her expression clouding over. If you look at the big picture, we're like an awesome giant robot, I said. Cool. How does everyone let off steam in a world like that? Well, that depends on the person. It's something you'll gradually get to learn at home, at school, or even during your club activities. Is that how it works? Most of the time, at least. Kozue let out a small sigh. I suddenly don't feel like going to school tomorrow. I couldn't help making a sore expression myself. Still, maybe I'll pay a bit more attention from now on. I'm glad to hear that. With that subject covered, Kozue shifted her gaze back to her book. I returned to my book as well. It contained several records about past treatments, which made me hope I could find one that resembled Sachiko's situation. Okay, so I guess the first scene that we saw with like the three of them in kindergarten is unrelated to the book she was reading. Because the way it was framed, I just assumed that the book she was reading was the scene that we just saw, but I guess it wasn't. It was just an unrelated scene. Okay. How do you work exactly? Kozue addressed me around the same time I finished making a note of every case we're looking into. Me, taken by slight surprise, I reacted with a foolish question. There was no one else in the room, so Kozo just continued staring at me, saying nothing. I made an embarrassed smile. I'm not sure how you imagine it, but psychologists aren't like other doctors. Yeah, because you're not really doctors. Sorry, that's controversial, I think. We don't mess with your body too much. At best, we recommend some medicine. What kind of patients come to you? Most of the people that visit my place are either old men that use dementia as an excuse to talk about their grandchildren, or housewives who come to complain about their husbands and daily chores. That's what you said last time. Sounds like a pain, but even I could hear them out. It doesn't take a genius to listen. What do you do when they finish talking, then? Well, first I have to listen carefully and find the exact cause of what's weighing on their mind. Then I think about how to help them overcome it. I think it's a bit more complicated than that, but it sounds simple enough. Well, it might not be as easy as you think. You can't see inside a person's mind after all. How is it not easy? It's different from simply opening someone's mouth and inspecting the condition of their tonsils, or listening for abnormalities in the beating of their heart. Everyone's mind is unique and different from mine, so you can neither quantify anything, nor tell good from bad with exact precision. Then what do? I'm having a hard time putting it into words. She does hypnotism is what she does. However, Kozu felt completely silent, obviously waiting for an answer. I took a breath and considered how I could convey at least the gist of it to her. It might be easy to understand if you imagine the mind of a large swath of water. Its surface could be ravaged by storms while the deeper parts remain undisturbed. However, there are times when the sea appears calm enough from the beach, but when you step into the water, you end up getting swept away by the underwater currents. People's emotions work in a similar way. To find out what's really going on, you have to delve deep. Except when you don't, because when the storm is over the sea, then you don't. But when it isn't, then you have to delve deep. I don't know if this is a good metaphor. Just looking at the surface, or even the mid-depth, won't yield a definitive answer. You have to reach the bottom. So you dive as deep as you can and shine light on the darkness you find there. And it's only then you start seeing the genuine thoughts of that person. They are all like deep-sea fish. Living in the depths no one knows about, they evolve in their own unique and unconstrained way. And sometimes when you shine the light on them, this is like the biggest paragraph we've seen in this game, when you shine the light on them, you realize they're somewhat distorted or missing something. Your job is to convey that to the person and help them fix it. After a few moments of silence, Kozu made a small nod. I'm not sure I understood it. Can't exactly blame you. Guess it's not that easy after all. Yep. Hey, have you ever ridden a train until sundown? Not yet. And are you sure you're still sane? I have other ways to relax. You'll recall I said that each person is unique. I get enough changes of pace as it is. I wish I could be like that too. As the hour grew closer to lunchtime, Kozu began stuffing her notebooks into her backpack. Going home? She slung the full backpack over her shoulders. Yes, I see. In that case, can I have one last question? Kozu passed by my chair but turned around as I addressed her. What? I'm looking for a picture book with birds. Do you know where they keep them? Not more fucking animal talk. No. And with that, Kozu trotted out of the library. Why is she... What does she want to know about birds? There's been a couple mention of birds so far in the story, but... Okay, I think this is a new song. The library was dead silent with Kozu and Lily. The short heels on my red shoes click against the floor, their sounds reverberating across the walls and the high ceiling. For fun, I tried making them click at calculated intervals, producing a sound akin to the ticking of a clock. Okay, so you're autistic? On the second floor shelf near the window, I finally found a wild bird encyclopedia. I picked it up, brushed off the dust, and flipped through a few pages. I saw something blue and returned to that page. There was a picture of the blue bird I saw yesterday on the windowsill. I don't know if I remember that. It's been a while. I left the library sometime afternoon. As I passed a row of olive trees and reached the inner yard, I heard voices from the rough direction of the camphor tree. I followed the sound to see Nanae talking to a girl I didn't know. The girl sat on a plastic sheet surrounded by a bunch of toys. As she nodded, Nanae patted her on the head, which made her close her eyes in response. I'll be back with some snacks. And with that, Nanae disappeared into the mansion through a side entrance. Left alone, the girl resumed playing with her toys. With her short hair fastened to a side tail, she reminded me of Takako in her childhood. I moved to her side so as not to startle her. The girl was trying to give her doll some milk. However, unable to properly press the tip of the bottle into the doll's mouth, she kept resting it against its face. I looked at her profile. Big eyes, angled, energetic-looking eyebrows. She shared some features with Takako, but she definitely wasn't her. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Hello. I addressed her as I reached the camphor tree. Oh. What are we doing? Oh god. Okay, I mean, that's obviously a doll of Mayuko, right? Or is that supposed to be a doll of Nanae's mom? I mean, that's just like one-to-one Mayuko, right? It doesn't look that similar right now because they have a different outfit, but like, and also this is Takako, right? You said her face looks slightly different, but I mean, she has green hair and she's wearing the same like color clothing. The girl turned towards me. However, her eyes were fixed not on me, but the doll I was holding. I made the doll's hands move as though it was knocking on the door. Who is it? I am Hibiki. I work nearby as a doctor. What about you? I'm Mia. Mia? She's Lily. She showed the baby doll she was holding. This is Lily? You two came here alone? She shook her head. I came here with my brother, but he went off to the mountains, leaving me to take care of everything. I see. Is she talking as the doll right now or as herself? As the doll, I assume. Must be tough on you. It is. The girl was staring at the doll in my hands. I made it a walk and bow in front of her. It's dirty. I made an embarrassed smile. It had obvious tear marks and the colors had mostly faded. Well, it's a pretty old doll after all. It might not look like much now, but this is actually our clinic's mascot. I moved my doll's hand to take the milk bottle from the... I'm sorry, your clinic has a mascot? I moved my doll's hand to take the milk bottle from the girl, and by shifting its angle a little, pushed it into the mouth of her doll. As I did that, the liquid inside the bottle decreased. Is it going inside the doll? Thank you. I mean, there are some dolls that can do that, but this doesn't seem like one of those. This time the girl looked at me. You're welcome. Miss Doctor, would you accept an invitation for dinner as a token of our gratitude? I like that idea. The girl began preparing dinner and placed toy plates and food on board. It looks delicious. I see you've prepared a melon pie and some vegetable soup, but what's this? Potato salad. More fucking potato salad. Creek. Wait. I mean, obviously, is every Takako chapter just in this girl's imagination? I mean, that's what I've been thinking since I saw her, but I didn't want to say it because it's such like a cop out answer. But is it? It could be. Like that one. What's that one famous like old TV show about the hospital? At the end, they reveal it was all a dream. Or no, it was all like the imagination of a little like autistic kid. Maybe this is the same. Is gonna be the same ending. The door of the side entrance opened. Oh, Nanae closed the door behind her with one leg. She was carrying a tray full of madeleines and had an extra madeleine in her mouth. I don't know what that is. Good evening. I greeted her with my doll. Nanae came closer to us and saw the food the girl had prepared. Oh, that smells nice. You want some too, Nanae? Please tell me her name. Of course. I even brought dessert. Let's all have some later. Eventually, Mia's brother returned to come pick her up. Oh no, okay, she was talking about her actual brother left. Okay. She wasn't talking as the doll for that. You sure you got all your toys with you? Okay, sorry, what was her name? Right, she said her name was Mia. Okay, for some reason I thought that was the doll's name also. But her real name is Mia. Okay. Mia. Man, my notes. Oh man. I don't want to have to reformat my notes again, but I'm just looking at this and I'm just not following. Because you know, like when you write the notes, it makes so much sense in your head, but then like you don't look at them for like a week and then you come back and it makes no sense. I have the word Miki question mark written down. I don't know what that meant. Who is Miki? Was that a character I forgot? I don't remember. That has to be a character I forgot about, right? I need to go back and check. I'm sure I would know it if I saw them. Mia spent a few moments rummaging through her bag, then stuck her hands in her pocket and checked something in there as well. Yes. Oh, you get a sprite too. Interesting. Is this supposed to be Inukai? It's been a while since we saw Inukai, so I'm not sure exactly what he looks like. Ouch! What's up with the running off and leaving your little sister all on her own? Further away, it seemed like Nanae's iron fist of punishment that just landed on the boy's head. He staggered backwards, clutching his head with one hand. Miss Narasaki. I felt someone tug on my sleeve. Glancing down, I saw Mia looking at me. I leaned down and patted her on the head. On her green head. Goodbye, let's play again some other time. Be careful on your way back, okay? Mia smiled and ran after her brother and Nanae. Things ended well this time around, but what do you think would have happened if she tried following you and got lost in the mountains? Someone has to look after her. Use your head, you're a brother. Didn't you... I mean... But he left her here, though. Would it have been better if he did take her along to the mountain? I feel like you're going about this the wrong way. I thought you'd look after her if I left her here. Yeah, I'm on this side. Mia's brother kept making excuses in a small voice while still clutching his head. Move your hand, I'm gonna give you another one. Nanae. Mia tugged on Nanae's sleeve with a worried expression. Nanae let out a sigh and lowered her fist. Well, whatever, I should be home by the time it gets dark. I'm sorry. The boy lowered his head, took Mia's hand in her bag, and walked off. I told everything that happened to your parents, so better be ready when you get home. What did he do? He just left her here, it's fine. The boy startled for a moment, but then continued walking. As I watched the siblings walk off in the afternoon glow, Nanae turned to me and made an embarrassed smile. I ended up causing you trouble. Now, it's been a while since I could return to my inner child. It was fun. Really? I'm glad to hear that. Contrary to her words, her expression still remains somewhat sour. Does it? You sure you didn't go overboard with the boy? Don't worry. I know all the kids and their parents are on here. I can't let them misbehave in front of my eyes. What if he starts hating you for beating him and such? I'm sure he'll understand. And if he starts hating me, I'll do my best to make him change his mind. You don't want to upset them, but you can't let them do as they please either. That's the part about being an adult. That's the hard part about being an adult. You gotta beat kids sometimes. Nanae shook her head. Yeah, we're getting this background for Narasaki. Is this the same one that was in the tips? I think so, right? Have we seen this room? I found a round resting room at the end of the corridor on the second floor. It had a small table and 2 chairs. There was also a shelf with a collection of old books. The curving wall facing the inner yard was covered in windows. The camphor tree stood right in front of the window, and its branches partially blocking the light. I sat down on one of the chairs and gazed outside. I thought about what I should do next. The sunrise filtering through the leaves gave the chairs and the table in the room a pleasant warmth. I felt somewhat drowsy looking at all that greenery swaying in the wind. Oh, are we gonna see high school Narasaki? Oh, we're back to Sachiko POV. The bell signaled the end of lunchtime. Some of the boys dashed out of the classroom to secure themselves a place to play on the athletic field. The sound of shuffling footsteps and various voices filled the area around me. Managing to finish my pack of milk. Your pack of milk, you say? Your pack of milk? Sachiko, do you have something to admit to us? Maybe some prank that you pulled on the baseball club? Managing to finish my pack of milk before the bell stopped ringing, I tore off the part holding it together and folded it into a neat rectangle. Once I was finished, I put it into the green case next to the podium. The cases for the other tableware seemed to have already been cleaned up. I picked up the green case and left the classroom, intending to carry it to the storage room. But first, let me stop by the baseball field. Clang! I lowered the case, placing it next to a whole bunch of similarly green cases from other classes. As I left the dark storage room and glanced out the window, I spotted several students already playing ball on the athletics field. The normally popular basketball court seemed to have been taken over by an older class. I turned away and continued to the backyard. The backyard between the fort wing and a big concrete wall was about as poorly lit as the storage room, but at least it allowed me to distance myself from the noise of other students. However, as I turned a corner beyond the fort wing, I saw someone. The silhouette was crouching over a patch of grass, apparently watering it. What are you doing? Ah, Sachi. Taco turned around, her twin tails dancing in the wind. I sat down next to her in my usual spot on the emergency stairs. I came to water your birthday present. Is that so? It's always damp here, so I don't think it needs much watering. You're never in your classroom during lunch. Do you always come here? Yes. I opened my paperback and took out the bookmark. Taco sat down next to me and spent a few moments staring at the page I was reading, but soon got tired of it and turned away. She then picked up a sketchbook that was lying on the stairs and began drawing something with a brown pencil. Scritch. Scritch, scratch. Her scribbling with a pencil was the only sound the back had for a while. Okay, wait, I came here to water your birthday present. Oh, you mean the 4-leaf clover? Wait, did you I'm sorry, did you, like, left? What? How do you say left in the past tense? Loathe? No, wait. Leave. Sorry. Did you leave the 4-leaf clover here? I thought you, like, plucked it and gave it to her. But I'm assuming she's talking about the clover here. You just left it in the yard? Okay. The scribbling of the pencil was the only sound in the backyard for a while. What are you drawing? Your present. You told me I couldn't pluck it, so I figured I'd draw it. I see. Did she say that? I don't remember her saying that. Maybe she did. You know, our classical Japanese teacher is terrible. I keep raising my hand, but he never asked me anything. Earlier today, I tried raising my hand to answer a question that no one in class had any clue about, and he still ignored me. Is that because you're a ghost and only we see you and no one else can see you, Takako? Is that what's going on? I've got you pinned. Why do you think that is? I just told you. Maybe he hates you because you keep sleeping in class, and your voice is always too loud. I can't help my voice, but I guess I was right. Damn, and then the math teacher only ever asks me something when I don't know the answer. Besides, you're terrible at classical Japanese. He probably doesn't let you speak because he doesn't want you to embarrass yourself. Grr, I'll get grade marks on the next test and show him. Good luck. Sachi, can you teach me after school? I can, but what about your club? The boys' basketball and volleyball teams are using the gym today, so I don't have practice. I'll do some running tonight, but that's about it. I see. I feel like that's not new information, but I feel like it is also. That she's part of the, I guess, track and field club? That's probably been mentioned, like, offhandedly so far, but I don't... That's the first time I'm, like, taking awareness of it. I turned a page. The sound of fervent scribbling resumed. I'm done. She placed a pencil on the stairs and held out her sketchbook in front of me. A 4-leaf clover extended across the entire page, each of its leaves appearing a bit different. Some of the leaves were drawn with the wavy lines while others looked jagged. Both versions look quite pleasing to the eye despite them being drawn with relatively few lines. Exactly what kind of profession are you aiming for? Well, her big eyes grew round as she let out a thoughtful grunting sound. I like drawing and creating things, so something along those lines. That sounds very specific. Ding dong. It's the bell, let's go. As I stood up and brushed the dust off my skirt, Takako rolled along the ground and stopped behind me. What are you doing? After school. Upon turning the corner, I saw Takako on all fours. What are you doing? Oh. Takako turned her head over her shoulder and waved at me. I was looking for the 4-leaf clover. Do you come here during every break? My classes are over. I came here to read a book for a while before going home. I sat down the stairs, opened the book, and took out the bookmark. Here it is. As soon as she found it, she unzipped her bag and she had left... As soon as she found it, she unzipped her bag she had left in the shadow of the stairs and took out the equipment. She entered the building holding a yellow bucket, filled it up with water, and came back out. That's way too much water, right? Alrighty. She sat down next to me. Splish. She stuck her brush into the water. Oh, okay, okay, never mind. Green and yellow. She squeezed the paint tubes, covering her palette in colors. I feel like it's not colorful enough. I turned a page. Just see some other colors then. I see. I turned a page. I heard the sound of a brush gliding against the canvas. The damp, gloomy backyard regained its usual silence. The only thing I could hear were the sounds of turning pages as I read, and the cries of the cicadas in the distance. I'm done. What do you think? He placed a brush on the stairs and held out the sketchbook in front of me. That's one colorful clover. I'm avant-garde. Does it have any meaning? Well, she stuck her head out and considered the canvas itself. She then pointed at the blue leaf. This blue leaf represents a sprout. It's the youngest of the 4. The yellow one is a young leaf that's yet to fully form. The green one, well, as you can no doubt tell yourself, is just a normal leaf in its prime. And lastly, this red one is a leaf at the very end of its life. She pointed at the green and red leaves in order. I'm impressed you managed to come up with that on the spot. I passed a qualification examination for colors the other day. You can make any colors you want by mixing the 4 I used for these leaves. Taco's palette was a difficult to describe mess of a whole array of colors mixed together, almost like she couldn't decide which one to pick right until the very end. Okay. Oh, that's it. Okay. Blue and green. At the end of the second floor corridor, there was a cylinder-shaped lounge with a small table, 2 chairs, and a bookshelf on it. Yeah, I know. A set of large windows lined the wall, welcoming the serene afternoon light. I spotted Sachiko sleeping at the table, using her elbow as a pillow. I suddenly pulled out the other chair, careful not to wake her. The chair creaked as I lowered myself in it, but it didn't seem to disturb her. Sachiko's shoulders rhythmically moved up and down, but other than that, she remained motionless. Her thin and glossy hair, succumbing to the pull of gravity, covered her face. It swayed ever so slightly in the soft breeze, glimmering in the afternoon light. I realized the collar of my coat got crooked as I sat down. Remembering that I had a doll in my pocket, I took it out and placed it on the table. It had been preserved well given its age. I tried brushing off a dirty spot on its cheek with a finger, but it didn't work. Suddenly, I heard some footsteps from behind. Looking up, I saw Nane's aunt at the other end of the corridor. She seemed to have noticed me as well and made a light bow. Hello. She came over to my chair, carrying a basket full of laundry. Hello. The weather's certainly nice today, neither too cold nor too hot. A perfect day for an afternoon nap, if there ever was one. How about joining us? An enticing proposal, but I must refuse. If Nane found us, I wouldn't hear the end of it. That's too bad. Yeah, you got like 2 whole customers. You gotta work hard. Lily made a warm smile and shifted her gaze to the doll on the table. Is this yours? Yeah. It looks quite old. Switching the laundry basket to her other hand, Lily considered the doll with curious eyes. I held it up in front of her. She took it with her one free hand. Is it handmade? Spots of dirt aside, it appears quite well crafted. I've had it since my childhood. You could say it's somewhat special to me. As it's something important to you. Lily inspected the doll for any other patches of dirt and tear marks. I could fix it up for you if you want. Really? Of course. What does the doll look like? It's not like our own antiques receive no refurbishing. We have a contract with a company that specializes in these things, and I myself can handle some of the simpler items. Lily answered me with a smile. Fixing your doll is not that difficult compared to what I usually do anyway. In that case, I definitely appreciate it. Alright, Lily placed the doll in her laundry basket. She then pulled out a sheet from it. Use this if you're planning to sleep. You mean like in this room? Thank you. It was hanging in the sun just a few minutes ago, so it should feel quite pleasant. I might end up being unable to sleep at night because of it though. Lily chuckled. That wouldn't be good. Sleep is the best medicine, or however the saying goes. She nodded to herself a few times. I imagine a mansion like this must have a ghost story or two. Absolutely. Do you like these kinds of stories? I'm quite a fan. In that case, I can tell you one if you want. Please do. Sounds great. Ooh. Wait. What empty chair? You said multiple times there were only 2 chairs. Where is she sitting right now? Wait, am I... Is Sachiko not here? No, Sachiko is here. And then the chair creaked as I lowered myself in it, so you're sitting in the second chair. And she even says specifically the other chair, like as in there's only 2 chairs. And she said before there were only 2 chairs. So where is she sitting right now? And you can see clearly from the background she's sitting at the table. She's not like on the chair that's on the other side of the room or something. Also, weren't they just worried about not waking up Sachiko? But now they're just like talking to each other? This is weird. Lily nodded, placed the basket on the floor, and lowered it herself onto the empty chair, wherever that was. It's about a woman that used to live here quite some while ago. She was different from most people, because she had an unusually sharp intuition. For example, look at this scar. I got it when I was hit by a bike. Lily rolled up her sleeve and showed her elbow to me. I could make out a scar that must have needed at least 6 stitches. It was quite an old wound. I thought I would have noticed. I would have even noticed the scar had she not pointed it out. I spoke to that woman on the phone before, and she told me to be careful of bikes. She would always warn you about things out of nowhere, but her premonitions always turned out to be true. Why did you get hurt then? Lily smiled. I wasn't planning to go out that day, but I was bored and napped through half the day. By the time I awoke, I'd already forgotten about the warning. I figured it was the perfect time to take out the trash, and as soon as I stepped outside, I was hit by a bike. She leaned to the left, pantomiming how she got hit. So that person could predict the future? I'm not sure. In my experience, there were only 2 occasions where she predicted something with such accuracy, so I probably wouldn't go as far as to say she could read the future. On the other hand, there were several cases that made me think she had unbelievably good instincts. It felt more like she was sensitive to the supernatural. Yeah, the supernatural, like bike accidents. One time while working there, I figured I'd skip out on cleaning duty and was sleeping in the storage room when I woke up with some really bad sleep paralysis. I couldn't move at all and was half panicking when I suddenly heard someone's footstep behind me. I don't know why I said behind me. When I heard someone's footsteps outside, along with the voice of 2 people. However, my mouth wouldn't move, so I couldn't call for help either. As I was praying for someone to notice me, I heard one of the 2 draw closer to the storage room, opening its door. It was her again. I pleaded for help with my gaze, but when she saw me, all she did was snort, as if making fun of me. It's pretty funny. Lily recounted the story with a smile on her face. I've had sleep paralysis once in my entire life, and it was not as scary as people make it out to be. Like, it's just kind of weird, because, like, you kind of, like, you feel kind of like, I don't know what's the word, like you're awake, but you're still a little groggy, and, like, you can't move your body, like, it's just weird. It kind of feels like how you feel, when you get, like, anesthetized. Like, the moments before you lose consciousness, it's like kind of that, I feel. She then closed the door and left. The sleep paralysis subsided on its own later, and I remember looking all over the place to find it and give her a piece of my mind. I was furious she didn't rescue me. Lily raised her fist in an expression of rightful anger, but soon lowered it and smiled. At any rate, I thought she had special powers. How about you? Do you believe in such things? Okay, so sorry, hang on. So the reason you think she has supernatural powers is because she walked in on you when you were having a sleep paralysis, and because she told you to be careful of bikes, and then you got hit by a bike. Those are the 2 reasons. Okay. I've had no first-hand experience with stuff like that, so I don't have much to say. I see. Lily continued in a slightly hushed tone. A lot of hotels and inns started popping up after the war, for tourists and such. However, most of them went bankrupt as soon as the real estate bubble burst. And with no funds to even raise the buildings, they ended up abandoned. It had been said since olden times that this area maintained strong ties with the supernatural. With a convenient ghost mansion around, the stories pertaining to all the things that might live inside went completely out of control. There are dozens of such stories. I honestly can't even remember them all. Anyway, this woman in question could see those kinds of things, so she had it rough, and her senses grew even keener after that one particular incident. At first, she only said she could hear the sounds at night. I'm just, even though it's in narration, I assume Lily is saying this, and it's on Narasaki thinking this. At that time, she was already working and lodging at the mansion. Anyway, she once said she could hear water dripping from the tap despite sleeping in the wing farthest away from the kitchen. The tap here was pretty loose, so you had to close it really tightly. With that in mind, she climbed out of bed and went to the kitchen to see what was up. Still half asleep, she tried to ring the tap handle even harder, but it didn't help. Then she suddenly heard something near her ears that sounded vaguely like the laugh of a child. She swiftly spun around, but there was no one there. Figuring it was only her imagination, she returned to bed, but as soon as she began to doze off, she heard some voices again. This time it was a bunch of children laughing. She jumped out of the bed, but once again there was no one there. Assuming it was just a bad dream she had after that unpleasant experience with that tap, she lay back on the bed, only for the sound of dripping water to start up again. She had a bad feeling about it, but still considered the possibility that her previous experience with the tap was no more than a dream. In the end, she got up and went to the kitchen again. As she closed the handle again, she heard the voice again. This time was, "Oh, let's play some more." Jump scares in the VN. This time it was clear as day. However, she didn't turn around. Instead, she focused on something that she saw from the corner of her eyes. It was not behind, but below her. She slowly looked down to see a child looking at her. Oh, that's spooky. The child turned its shadowy face to her, and after conceding that they had been found, suddenly dashed towards the kitchen wall and vanished behind it. Wait, so there was just like a child standing in between her legs, like staring up at her? Okay. Well, was that scary? She leaned against the table on her elbows and took a good look in my face. Yeah, that was pretty creepy. Right? She nodded to herself with a satisfied smile. Want to hear what happened next? Yeah, what happened? So, she ended up changing rooms and felt the presence of children in her new place as well. After that, she started seeing odd things all over the mansion. I saw her run into them multiple times myself. This one time, she suddenly stopped in place as we were climbing the stairs. When I asked her what was wrong, she told me she saw something in the mirror that shouldn't have been there. We had a big mirror on the second floor and I gave it a glance, but it looked pretty normal to me. All I could see reflected in it were the two of us. I asked her if she was tired and played it for laughs at the time, but it kept happening. So I figured I might as well try and research the history of the mansion a bit. I already knew that the place used to be a sanatorium. I've told you about the Fujisaka family, right? Well, we knew that even before we refurbished the place. The building has been purified by Shinto priests, and it has never been a hospital for the site, or the site for a graveyard either. It's never... okay. Purified by Shinto priests. Besides, this era saw plenty of battles during the war, so you'd expect all the weird things to happen there and not over here in a secluded mansion. Anyway, I figured to dig a bit deeper, using the record and study in the library next door. Oh, that's right, the library over there actually used to belong to another building. It fell apart before we could do anything about it, so we only ended up getting the library. Huh. How does that happen? It's actually even older than this mansion. Anyway, I also found some black and white photos from when the place was used as a sanatorium. The reason I'm interested in this is one like incongruency I found with treating the place that the Narasaki is at in tips as this mansion. One problem with that is that when she went to the library, like here when they talk about the library, they say it as if like it's just its own building outside, and you go to the library from the outside and you just walk in. But when Narasaki entered the library, it seemed like she entered it from a door that was like in a hallway. So that was always a bit weird to me. That's a detail I noticed. But if we're saying that the mansion that the library used to be part of another building, like a smaller part of another building, and then here the rest of the building was just torn down for some reason and they only kept the library. If that's what we're saying, then this gets interesting. Anyway, I also found some black and white photos from when the place was used as a sanatorium. I showed the pictures to my friend, and then she pointed at a few people, telling me she actually saw them here in the mansion. Lily stole a glance at me. What happened after that? Well, we assumed those people must have been ghosts or something, so we called the priest and had him purify the place. We used holy salt, placed charms on the doors and the walls and all that jazz. There might still be some left. Want me to look for them? I figured it wouldn't have been too fun to see them, so I declined. Were there pictures of like Takako and Maiko and Sanae and the whole gang? Anyway, after that, she stopped telling her weird stories to me. I was relieved, thinking we were finally done with it. But one day, and ironically enough in this exact place, I was walking down the corridor when I heard some voices. Thinking that someone was having a conversation, I continued walking and ran into her. But there was no one else. She just stood there, chuckling all by herself. When I asked her what she was doing, she answered that it was nothing. It felt weird, so I didn't back down. Who are you talking to? I asked her. She finally told me that those people from the picture didn't disappear after the purification, and that after talking to them, she found out that they weren't bad people at all. She didn't want us to worry anymore, she just kept silent about it. No one else, of course, saw or felt anything, so it could have gone by unnoticed, but I think she wanted someone to confess to. Even after that, I saw her talking to herself on multiple occasions. Is this... Is the person you're talking about Kozue? No. Is it? One time when we were folding the sheets, she suddenly looked up at the ceiling and started following something with her eyes. This seems like an older story, like it took place like some years back, right? When I asked her what it was, she told me she saw a butterfly, but I couldn't see anything, no matter where I looked. It also happened on a cold winter day, so it didn't even make sense for a butterfly to be there. He said it was probably from the other world. According to her, it was a beautiful blue butterfly. After that, she began talking to herself a lot less frequently, until she started seeing butterflies everywhere. I realized that she would almost always stare upwards whenever we roamed the corridors together. She even said she wanted to try and catch one. Anyway, one day she had to clean the guest rooms. I was assigned to cleaning the windows in the corridor, but as I was working, I suddenly heard a loud sound from the room she was cleaning. I rushed inside to find it completely empty. The window was open, so I looked down, thinking she might have fallen down or something. I didn't see anyone, but then I remembered we had a well down below, so... I called some people and we ended up going down the well with flashlights and everything, but found nothing. Only the dark water surface reflected our lights. We turned the place upside down looking for her, but never found her. Huh? Didn't that turn into a serious incident then? I assume the police were involved. Yeah, the police followed her as a missing person and kept looking. They even climbed down her wall but didn't find any clues. Anyway, she disappeared without a trace. Just like the people that disappeared in the sanatorium. Most of the people have heard stories about her, so they started saying that she was spirited away. Her parents looked everywhere for her, but it ended up with no clues either. However, it's possible she's been around here all along, just that we couldn't see her. Okay, so this wouldn't be Kozue then. This would either be Mayuko or Sanae. If we're saying that like the Tatako POV is the spirit world. Well, was it scary? Lily opened her eyes as wide as she asked a question. Open her eyes wide as she asked a question. More like creepy in an unsettling way. I suppose. You know, someone said that if we can't find the body, that means there's a chance she's still out there, alive and well. It's a possibility I can't deny. So you're saying we're better off not knowing? Well, there are things best left unknown, right? I don't know about that. Besides, we don't even know whether she was seeing real ghosts or just had a mental problem. On the other hand, she began acting particularly weird after seeing those old pictures. Perhaps it would have been best for her to just ignore the whole incident with that child or whatever she saw on her first weird night. That child or whatever. What do you think? Well, I imagine it'd be difficult not to pay attention to something as big as that. You're right, but I think it was at least an option. As I deliberated on which part she had been referring to exactly, her tone suddenly turned more cheerful. Speaking of ghosts, where's Sachiko right now in this room? These kinds of stories are like Pandora's box. If no one ever opened a thing before, how would they know that hope would be the last thing remaining on the bottom? However, some theories claim that you could also know the future through it. Really? Still, it doesn't really change my example. I glanced at Sachiko, who is sitting in this chair? Question mark? Are you just standing up right now, even though you said you sat down earlier and I didn't see you say you stood up? I glanced at Sachiko and Lily followed my gaze. What do you think? The light falling on Sachiko's hair had grown orange in hue. I suddenly heard another set of footsteps approaching from the direction of the corridor. Oh snap. Lily stood up as Nani stormed into her serene space. What are you doing here? What about the laundry? Nani addressed Lily in a somewhat heated tone. I wasn't skipping on work. I was telling our guest about the history of our mansion, that's all. I really hope they weren't your silly ghost stories again. Oh, not even close, right? I'm sorry for taking up your time, but I truly appreciate that curious little story. Then I looked at Lily, then back at me. She finally heaved a deep sigh. Well, okay then. Lily picked up her laundry basket. Well, I'll be returning to work then. Jeez. Let's have another chat sometime, said Lily as she began walking down the corridor. Sure. Well, see you around then. Then I followed after Lily. Like, maybe I just missed a line. But even then, it doesn't make sense. Did Narasaki stand up randomly? Oh, more tips, cool. Did the Narasaki stand up randomly, and then Lily sat down and took her seat? Because the game has been like so insanely verbose so far in describing everyone's movement. Like in the Christmas party, it described like one by one where everyone was sitting at the table. So it seems weird that they would make this kind of mistake. Unless it's not supposed to be a mistake and it's supposed to be some kind of clue. Or unless it's not a mistake and I just missed something, maybe. Hang on. I actually want to look at that again. I'm sorry. That was. I'm sorry because I'm so focused on like who was sitting where when we just got told like a spooky ghost story, but that's the thing that's standing out the most to me. Oh yeah, I forgot about Mia. Yeah, Mia with the doll of Mayuko or whatever. Okay, no, Sachiko isn't here yet. Is Narasaki Sachiko? Is that what we're saying? Who's who? Someone is someone, I'm pretty sure. Someone is someone else. Sleeping at the table, using her elbow as a pillow. I suddenly pulled out the other chair, careful not to wake her. Nana's aunt arrives, Lily. She came over to my chair. Hello. How about joining us? Us plural? Yeah, the doll, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Unless I either assume that Narasaki and Sachiko are the same person, or I assume that Narasaki is insane and is hallucinating, or I assume that it was just an error and there's supposed to be 3 chairs at the table. Because they explicitly said 2 chairs, right? It's not like I'm just basing this off the background. Like she said, I spotted Sachiko and pulled out the other chair. And I'm pretty sure, okay, I'm sorry, let's load again. So I'm getting so hung up on this. Yeah, Mia, cool. It had a small table and 2 chairs. 2 chairs, not 1 chair, not 3 chairs. 2 chairs. So, either the game made a mistake, which is okay, or Sachiko and Narasaki are the same person, or Narasaki is just hallucinated the whole discussion, and also hallucinated Nanae talking to Lily. Or maybe Lily was just sitting on Narasaki's laps the whole time and just didn't see her in the CG. Who knows? Okay, but anyway, it definitely seems to be going towards... definitely seems to be, like, leaning towards some sort of, like, some ghost stuff, right? Like, everything we see from Takuko's POV, they're all ghosts. And either Sanae or Mayuko is the person that Lily was talking about in that story. and now they're stuck in the ghost world. I think it would make more sense if it was Sanae, I think. But what about An? When's An gonna show up? I'm still curious about An. The tips we got were for a new section, right? They weren't from Narasaki's clinic. Yeah, second trip. Landscape immersion. Okay, I'm very curious what that's gonna be. Okay, anyway, stopping here for now. Will the chair dilemma be solved by the time I finish this game? You know, it's funny because another VN I played on this channel, another mystery VN called Yet Another Killing Game. I also got extremely hung up on the very particular detail about the chair in that game that I kept bringing up over and over for the rest of the playthrough, and it never got solved in the end, and I was so angry. I was so mad that it never got answered. The fucking chair, oh my god. I really hope they're gonna explain the chair in this one. I don't want to get blue-balled twice in a row with the chairs. My arch nemesis. Okay, anyway, I'm done here. Alright, see you next time.